Alrighty, another day, another video. Let me just log into my YouTube analytics and oh my god.
What?
I don't know what justifies this number. I truly don't know. I'd like to believe it's because it was, you know, informative and insightful on some level, but what? Anyway, thanks to everyone who helped me get my last video to a whopping, how many, 70,000 views? I don't know, that's insane. And now I can fully prepare for each and every one of my next videos to, you know, get 10 views. Thank you. I'm joking, by the way. I'm genuinely very grateful to everyone who not only watched the video, by the way, but commented. I like seeing people's thoughts, you know, people's input, their feedback, even if it doesn't directly pertain to the video. A lot of people were expressing their appreciation for the way I handled the analysis portion of the video, as well as the fact that apparently not a lot of people talk about Yuto Sano for some reason, which has rendered me shooketh, to say the least. It's good to know that I'm relatively unique as far as my YouTube topics go, so that's good. Now, after posting that video, I did notice that a lot of people in the comments were bringing up other artists that they either like or enjoy themselves, you know, just to add on to my particular video content. And there were a decent amount of people who are mentioning the same artist over and over again. The name Kei Urana kept popping up. Now, after doing a small amount of research, a very small amount of research, Urana is apparently a popular manga artist who has gained widespread acclaim in recent years due to her manga Gachiakuta, which is not pronounced Gachiakuta, which is what I kept referring to the first several times I heard of it. Here, look at this TikTok.
That's not how you pronounce Gachiakuta. Actually, it is. Unlike what that guy said, it's not two separate words. It's Gachi and Akuta smashed together into one word. Gachi meaning legit or real, and Akuta meaning trash or garbage. Meaning the series is literally called Legit Garbage. You do not pronounce this Gachiakuta. No, that's just wrong.
Fair enough. See you around.
I think I've heard of her before, but hadn't really covered her or even really analyzed her art outside of maybe seeing a few images of panels from her manga. Now, to be upfront, I've heard of her before, I just haven't really looked into her art all that often for some reason. I don't know why. So I feel like this is probably a good opportunity for me to, you know, actually go out and explore works from other artists that I don't immediately know about. So I'm going to do a quick dive into her past artworks or posts, I guess. I'm going to look at her style, you know, her line work, the way she might render or color. Not color, I don't look at that. Maybe a few of her panels, you know, it depends. But overall, I'm just going to do a general analysis of the way that she does artwork. So let's get into it. Okay, first and foremost, after doing a little bit of research, I thought that she identified as non-binary. So I was prepared to refer to her as they, but apparently, and this is confusing, apparently she doesn't identify with they, them pronouns. It was just a method for her to remain anonymous, and she does identify as she, her, so I'm just going to use that going forward. If I'm incorrect, I apologize. This is just what came up. Thank you, Google. Okay, let's check out her work, see what we can find. Unfortunately, my old nemesis Pinterest is going to come in very handy here, and I'm just going to take a look at the images that pop up when I type in her name here. There's a decent amount of stuff that I can immediately look at. Okay. Alright, I just got into my Pinterest that I don't even really use, by the way. I made this and never looked at it again. I don't even know what half of these are or how they pertain to me. I don't have hair like this. I don't know why that's there. Tyler? That makes sense. Kei Urana. There we go. Oh, hold on. I can see the height. I can see the height. Is this is actually hers, right? Okay, this is sick. This is sick. These are all hers too? Jesus. Hold on, let me pick my favorite one. What's my favorite one? My favorite. You know, okay. Thing that jumps out to me, like, her faces are very distinct. Also, her line work is very loose, very sketchy, but still, she definitely knows where to put stuff. Ooh, could I include this? Is this hers? Oh, this could be helpful. I'm gonna save this. Save. Motherfucker. Save. Huh. Yeah, oh, bro, Yuto Sano is everywhere I go. Why can't he just leave me alone, bro? Why can't he just leave me alone? I don't know. Thick eyelash, like, the eyelashes look like they got legitimate weight. Like, every eyelash. It's one thing, but it's, they're like blades. Okay, studying this makes me want to try drawing, like, one of her faces. It's definitely the eyes. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's the eyes and the hair. It's the eyes and the hair, and the information in the hair as well. I don't know. There are these spiky things along the hair that just flow so well. Oh my god. Look at the hair. Like, actually look at the hair. And then she'll do stuff like this. I don't even know how to describe it. This is not possible. This is not anatomically possible, okay? The fuck is this guy doing? Oh my gosh. I think I'm gonna have to take a minute to acquire a few of these and then draw them. I don't know. Okay, now upon familiarizing myself with a few of her works from Pinterest, it seems that there's a lot of thematic elements that she deals with, or elements that are very prominent in her works. These few are some illustration techniques that seem to appear constantly in her pieces. She just can't stop. These are things like extreme foreshortening, exaggerated facial expressions, patch hatching, and long continuous line strokes. The foreshortening is simple enough and probably the most immediately recognizable of her style. Urana really enjoys creating dimensional depth by placing elements of anatomy very close to the projected screen, quote unquote. Examples of this include every time a character's got a hand up in your face, looking like they're about to palm your freaking forehead. The head or shoulders are pushed closer or made to appear larger. The legs are extended outwards via foreshortening, or when secondary elements like hair or clothing is drawn larger to achieve the same effect. However, Urana is probably way more known for the facial expressiveness of her characters, the exaggerations. Super, and I mean super stylized faces that she'll contort and rearrange to fit angles that are just insane by any standard metric. By this, I mean you'll literally have impossible angles with the head or face that work simply because of the style itself. Ain't no way bro is eyeballing me this much. He's setting his cornea on my nose. Stop it. Proportionally speaking, with Urana's style, the eyes tend to be quite large on her characters. I'm not going to say very large, but it's given Mort from Madagascar. However, the shape of the eyes is more of a telltale of her style than the actual size. They tend to be very round, pretty much almond-shaped, almost like a cat's, actually, if you think about it. That might low-key be the best description. The eyes are also bordered by extremely thick lashes, usually on top, but they can also border the bottom. Sticking with accurate descriptions, by the way, I would say that both the eyelashes and the hair of her characters is, shape-wise, way closer to feathers than it is to human follicle hair. In some close-ups of her eyes, you can actually see how she'll simplify the lashes into blades or feathers, sort of. The hair of her characters also won't follow the typical aesthetic. For instance, if you take a close look, she almost never ends strands of her hair in sharp points, as might be the case with other artists, of course. Rather, the strands will end in these dull curves, almost like swords or knives that have just dulled over time. Another point of interest that I've noticed in regards to the way Urana will set the eyes is that she'll literally change the axis if she needs to, depending on angle or mood. Whenever a character's head is angled downward and she wants to emphasize an intensity for the pose, she will have the axis point down as well with the angled head, almost doubling the effect of the offset eyes. Then, in reverse, when a character's head is tilted up and we see the underside of the chin, for example, the eye axis will shift and angle up directionally instead. Please note, these are stylistic choices that are pretty context dependent, meaning that Urana won't do this every time given the conditions, but she does it enough such that it's noticeable as an aspect of her style. Moving on to hatching, which actually for her is more like multi-directional hatching or patch hatching. By this, I simply mean that when shading in darker areas, Urana adds additional style information via hatching by inserting separate patches of non-parallel lines that end up giving the drawing a really cool and unique look. Sometimes the lines themselves are curved, offering an even more interesting visual. She will mix things up, though, by using standard parallel lines in some areas, while then utilizing this multi-directional method in others. Now, it's one thing to understand an artist's style theoretically, we can all probably spot her tendencies and preferred elements, but it's a completely different thing to try to actually replicate the style yourself. So what I did is I sat down for maybe 20 to 40 minutes just trying to get a general feel of her art and to see if it was something that I would be able to reproduce given my own current skill set. So what I've done here is, before I can really start actually explaining how her style looks and behaves, I feel like I have to try it myself. And what I've done here is I've just compiled a few of, the panels or images that I felt really explored her style, or at the very least, were panels that I felt made the most sense for me. They definitely stuck out to me, and they were things I think are perfect representations of her style. I'm not really going to explain too much, and I didn't select too many, to be honest with you. They're just like, how many are here? Well, math is hard, so I'm not going to count, but...
Please stop talking!
After some time, I figured I got a decent handle on her aesthetic. Definitely not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but passable. As a final challenge to myself to actually apply my study and something to hopefully close out this godforsaken video, I decided to draw one of Urana's own characters in as close a style as I could get to her own, and what better character to choose than the protagonist from Urana's manga, Rudo. Starting with an establishing sketch, I was thinking about the best ways to apply what I've discussed in this video so far. Recalling that Urana's a big fan of foreshortening, I decided to go with a downward angle, keeping Rudo's head and shoulders closest to frame to exaggerate the perspective. After finishing the loose sketch, I move immediately on to line work, trying to vary the line weights every so often to keep the image balanced or visually interesting. Not gonna lie, I kind of jumped around with where I focus on the line work, but I did try to prioritize the face and hands first, since those features tend to add the most to the feel of a character. I knew the hair was probably going to be the most difficult because it just differs so much from the way I'm used to doing hair. I kept having to catch myself. I'm used to doing them spiky, so transitioning to Urana's feathered hair method was such a hurdle to cross. I felt like I was suffering from like a kind of withdrawal a little bit. I did try to include more detail in the hair, similar to how Urana might have treated it, but I also maintained some stylized simplicity for effect. For the shadow, since it's essentially a block of darker values, I included the patch hatching technique I mentioned earlier, sticking with the straight type, since Rudo just standing there was more a static pose than a dynamic one. Technically, at this point, all of the line work was done, but it just looked too flat to me, kind of, incomplete, so I started to add some tone values just to make the illustration pop a little bit more. I didn't cover or go over Urana's toning technique, so you can probably just ignore this part. And now we have the finished product. Be completely honest with me, does this look like it could have been a panel from Gachiakuta? Don't lie. And that's pretty much it as far as the analysis goes. Similar to Yuto Sano, there is significantly more to Urana's style than just the things I discussed here, but these are probably the most notable elements in her art. If you watch this video because, you like her style and wanted to see someone's take on it, if you watch the video because you want to draw like her yourself, if you watch the video simply because you're a fan of the manga and it just caught your eye or whatever, let me know. Hit the streets with a comment or two. By streets, I just mean the comment section below. I love comments more than I love likes. Likes are awesome too, though, so don't forget to do that. While I was making this video and I had free time between my editing breaks, I did actually pick up and officially start reading Gachiakuta myself. As of me mentioning it right now, I'm currently on chapter 114. Yes, it's good. No, I won't spoil anything, but this motherfucker's a bitch. I love this guy since the moment he was introduced. I'm in love with her, and this man should be banned from aura farming. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.